Tango Gameworks' The Evil Within is an underrated yet intriguing survival horror series. Its world is one of a litany of nightmares given shape, and the monsters inhabiting it are as much byproducts of torture as they are beings with malice. Let's take a look at the strangest enemies you'll meet in both games and the meanings behind them. Spoilers included for both games. Ruvik, The Evil Within. Ruvik is definitely more complex than his initial appearance lets on. His tattered robes hide a heavily scarred and burned body. He moves about Stim with an unnatural speed and possesses extraordinary powers. And most importantly, he has no qualms about inflicting pain. When he was Ruben, things were different. He was troubled but extremely intelligent and loved his sister Laura deeply. So when Laura eventually died and Ruben was imprisoned by his father, hidden away from society, he went off the deep end. He would eventually kill his parents and begin furthering his research towards STEM, taking on the name Ruvik, all for the sake of building a place where his sister could be reborn. Fun fact, the name is actually a reference to the Rubik's Cube, hinting at the twisted puzzle that is his mind. Amalgam Alpha, The Evil Within. A huge, grotesque creature, the Amalgam Alpha is more than just, well, an amalgamation of corpses. It's the collective consciousness of all the victims connected to STEM in their final moments. Obviously, that would mean a lot of emotional trauma, and as such, the Amalgam Alpha immediately attacks anything and everything. How does one explain the giant maw that's exposed when it flips over? Well, it's probably hungry, so just don't get eaten. Alternatively, don't crawl underneath a car when the Amalgam Alpha is watching. It likes jumping on cars and crushing those beneath. Anima, The Evil Within 2. She moves like Guillermo del Toro's mama and even resembles her to an extraordinary degree. However, Anima isn't an entity that's seeking to keep her children all to her lonesome. Instead, she stalks the town of Union, looking for prey to relentlessly hound. Sebastian becomes her latest obsession, and she'll turn up at the most opportune times to make his life miserable. Somehow, she's related to the guilt he feels over the mistakes he's made. Once Sebastian finally moves on, Anima disappears as well. Maybe to go haunt another victim and be the killing weight on their shoulders. Laura, The Evil Within 1 and 2. Laura and Ruben were close as children, and when she sacrificed herself to save her brother during a fire, that memory would remain seared in his mind forever. This new Laura is more than just Ruvik's sister given a form and burnt skin. Her screaming is a testament to what Ruvik heard as she burned, and also why she's afraid of fire. For all intents and purposes, this Laura within STEM is indeed Ruvik's recreation of his sister. Sadly, his revenge and hatred have twisted her into just another murderous creature. The Keeper, The Evil Within. The Keeper is a curious figure. He seems fairly straightforward at first, acting as a manifestation of Ruvik's drive to keep his memories safe. Those who would try to learn Ruvik's secrets are essentially brutalized, reflecting the sheer anger that he holds. However, in the Executioner DLC, we learn that the Keeper might not be a sole entity. Perhaps the Keeper is merely a role reserved by someone robbed of their free will in an attempt to safeguard whatever Ruvik needs them to. They wouldn't be the first to suffer that fate. The Shade, The Evil Within, The Assignment, The Consequence. The old dancing spotlight woman herself, the Shade is easily one of the most unsettling enemies in The Evil Within's The Assignment and The Consequence. She wears white, just like Julie Kidman, and is looking for Leslie, just like Julie Kidman. The fact that the Shade appears in STEM at the same time as Julie seems to reinforce their connection. Of course, she's probably part Julie and part of Ruvik's desire for a new body, continuously devouring victims as it mutters, "your body." As the case may be, both the Shade and Julie are serving the same purpose in their own unsettling ways. Obscura, The Evil Within 2. The product of the creepy Stefano, Obscura is essentially created from two different bodies and old camera parts. When fighting Obscura, players hear a mix of low and high-pitched sounds. The low sounds seem to indicate that pleasant sound that Stefano heard when creating art, that art being the woman he'd butcher. The actual screaming of the woman could be linked to higher-pitched sounds that the Obscura makes. That mesh of reality and imagination where Stefano knows he's not just hearing good vibrations when murdering his victims is unsettling. He just doesn't really care and has no problem presenting both sounds as a testament to his art in Obscura. Guardian, The Evil Within 2. Sebastian's first encounter with the Guardian is pretty straightforward. It's a huge, hulking creature armed with a buzzsaw that can murder him instantly. On closer inspection, however, it's actually a twisted mess of the women that Stefano killed. This is his art given function, with the various heads holding kinds of expressions, from the giggling that embodies Stefano's madness to the pain of their final moments. We call it a mass of hair, heads, and limbs strewn together, but this is Stefano's art come to life. Glutton, the evil within 2. Gluttons are victims of their own excessive greed and longing. Of course, it doesn't hurt that Theodore Wallace is responsible for their state, manipulating them into taking on these horrid forms. Gluttons can't really attack, per se. All they can do is run at Sebastian and explode, hoping to damage him in the process. Perhaps a statement to their own excess, eventually leading to nothing but oblivion. Aperture, the evil within 2. Upon entering Union, players encounter this massive eye in the sky that's keeping track of everyone in town. We initially see Stefano with his hair covering his right eye. As it turns out, the Aperture is his right eye. It was lost during Stefano's stint as a journalist during the war. However, Aperture could be looked upon as his true eye, awakened thanks to his time in STEM and granting amazing power. The Matriarch, the evil within 2. Hilariously, we go from a creature that resembles Del Toro's mama but having none of her habits, to the Matriarch, which looks completely different but acts exactly like mama. This creature is created from Myra Hansen's manic drive to ensure her daughter's safety. Matriarch, as such, is a term for a motherly figure, but Myra takes it to a whole other extreme, even fighting back against Sebastian. Eventually, she relents, but the Matriarch, as Myra's protectiveness given form, is still terrifying. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.